Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Monday Open. My name is Mark. I'm one of the senior relationship managers here at Vantage Markets Australia. I'm based in Melbourne. We also have my colleague up in Sydney. His name is Jeff, but he'll be away today, so I'll be hosting this one solo. So what we'll be covering today is what's happened in the markets last week, what's upcoming this week. So basically the important events on the economic calendar. Also, we'll be covering some technical analysis and question and answers at the end. So last week we saw some Middle Eastern conflict pick up. Obviously, we saw the tensions rising between Iran and Israel. So that did initially create a spike in the oil price. Investors put their money in safe haven assets. The other one will be the Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell's speech. So basically, what Jerome Powell said last week was that they're on the right track to start cutting rates. The economy is looking healthy, and moving forward, they're going to start cutting rates, but it's uncertain as to how big they cut and how quickly they cut. The other important one was the US non-farm payrolls that came out at about 254,000. Basically, what that is, it's employment change in the US. So that was a really strong data there, which increased the value of the US dollar. As of this week, we have the Reserve Bank of New Zealand interest rate decision. So they're actually expected to cut rates by 50 basis points. So that's quite a big cut there. We also have the US CPI data, which is due in the middle of the week. That's expected to tick lower than expected. We also have Canada employment change that's expected to be released towards the end of the week. Now, that's the economic calendar here. As I said before, you can see the RBNZ, the cash rate decision. So they expected to cut by 50 basis points to 4.75%. We also have the FOMC meeting. That's basically just a statement out of the Federal Reserve, basically outlining what they spoke about last week. We also have the CPI data that's due on Thursday. As I discussed before, the expected is 0.1%. Which is lower than the previous one. So inflation is expected to tick down. The other announcement will be the employment change out of Canada. That's expected to be at 33,000 roughly. We do also have PPI data out of the US. That's another measure of inflation there. So let's jump into some technical analysis here. Okay, so we have a chart here of the New Zealand dollar against the US dollar. As you can see there, that's the daily chart, by the way. So we do have a range-bound market there. So basically, price bouncing from support and resistance level. I've drawn the resistance levels there on the top between 0.6411 and 0.6341. You can see price reacted multiple times at that level. And we also got the support level there at 0.5878 and 0.5773. Price did react multiple times at that support level. You can see there. What's interesting as well is you can see the false breakout there. That'll be the second time it tried retesting that support level, had a false breakout. That's typical. I mean, it does happen from time to time. Nothing's perfect, but it's important to sort of always watch your risk and know that these things can happen. Now, to look at the most recent price, we can see it's actually declined quite significantly, actually, due to a few things. So we have a weaker, so basically weak activity data and lower New Zealand inflation data. so that's driving the price down. Also, the Middle Eastern tensions did create an increased flow to safe haven demands. New Zealand is one of those currencies where it's a risk-sensitive currency, so during economic uncertainty, it tends to go down. We also had strong US non-farm payrolls data out of the US on Friday that did increase the currency pair further, so as you can see there. So the next one is the dollar yen daily chart. So as you can see, the most recent price action, we can see a breakout out of that trend line there. So that's due to yen weakness and also US dollar strength. Again, non-farm payrolls that did give it that boost up there. You can also see it's at the resistance one level at about 149.40, 148.72. So you might see some profit taken there. We're already seeing it as we speak at the moment. If it does pass that level, the next level to look at where you'll likely see some profit taking or potentially some resistance will be at the 154.75 to 151.92 level. If you look on the left there, I've highlighted previous support. So you can see the price has actually acted as a support level multiple times in the past. So usually what happens, support turns into resistance. Sometimes it doesn't, but other times it does. But what I'm saying is that level there can be quite significant. If price does go up there, you could potentially see some profit taking and potential resistance level there. I've also I've also added in an indicator. So it's called the Relative Strength Index. You can actually use this as a strategy, just as sort of like just extra confirmation for yourself. So what it is, it basically it's a momentum oscillator that measures the speed and change of price movements. So it basically oscillates from 0 to 100. So you can see two horizontal lines there on the chart, the top one being 70, the bottom one being 30. So if price does go above 70, we're in overbought territory. And if it goes below 30, we're in oversold territory. So you can see actually they've given examples. I've drawn three vertical lines there, one on the 26th of April. We can see price, we had a spike, we were in overbought territory, and you saw price pull back shortly after that. That's about, I think it's about 300 pip move there. So you can use this as sort of confirmation on maybe the higher time frame. If you want a better entry, you can go down to a lower time frame. You can also see that as well on the 3rd of July. We also had overbought conditions there. Price decided to come down after that. And also as we're selling down 5th of August, we had oversold conditions there. And then price had a bit of a rebound there before I decided to trade into that channel. So it's a potential strategy that you can use for your own trading. Okay, let's move on to question and answers here. So we did have a couple of questions from some clients here. So we'll just cover them now. So first question is, what is non-farm payrolls, or NFP's non-farm payrolls? And how does it affect prices in the financial markets? So non-farm payrolls, I touched on this earlier. It's basically employment data released out of the US, typically released on the first Friday of that month. It does measure the strength of the labor market. What's interesting is that also unemployment data and monthly salaries are also released as well. So the increase in wages at the same time that the non-farm payrolls is released. Sorry. So what I'm trying to say is that on Friday all three of them were released at the same time, and you saw that spike down there as you can see on the chart from 110.33 to 109.51. So if you see, so it wasn't really conflicting data. They were all actually better than expected. So that's why you had that sharp move down. If you see a situation where the datas are conflicting, so you had better employment data, but the unemployment data ticked up instead of down, you'll likely see some whipsaw there. So, but in this situation, all three data that was released was actually better than expected. That's why you saw that sharp drop there. So the second question is, what are safe haven assets and what events affect them? So safe haven assets are basically assets that investors tend to go towards when there's economic uncertainty, geopolitical tensions, also increased market volatility. Typically, safe haven assets are US dollar, gold, Japanese yen, and the Swiss franc. So you can see that I've got a chart on for gold. It looks like a 4-hour chart. So gold has been increasing recently, due to the economic uncertainty, mainly due to inflation. So as you can see there, the price of drawn labels there, where price did actually consolidate and then broke out. At the moment, we are consolidating in a triangular formation. It looks like we've made a recent high of 2685. So yeah, I mean, depends on what happens around the world. This thing may break out, may break down. It just depends on what data comes in. Okay, now we're gonna just wrap it up for today. We'll be hosting this every Monday at 3:30. Most likely, my colleague Jeff will be joining me next week. So yeah, again, every Monday at 3:30. And we also do have a VIP chat room as well, which is staffed by the Everest Fortune Group. They do post a lot of technical analysis, fundamental analysis in there. So yeah, feel free to jump on and have a look. Also, it's staffed by myself and Jeff. We are on there all the time. So if you ever want to ask a question, feel free to jump on there and ask a question. We also do have weekly technical video, which is uploaded every Monday. So that's a bit more in-depth measure of what's happening from a technical analysis standpoint. We also do have a private client daily update, which is written daily by myself and my colleague Jeff. So that basically highlights what's happened the previous week, what's upcoming, and it just keeps you informed of what's happening in the markets really. Thanks everybody, and we'll see you next week. Take care. Bye bye.